Urgent Dallas Cowboys fans, do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel because here we bring you daily videos with the latest Dallas Cowboys updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Hey Cowboys Nation, today we're diving deep into the latest developments that are shaking up the Dallas Cowboys coaching staff, particularly their ongoing search for a new defensive coordinator. If you've been following the Cowboys this season, you know that defense has been a topic of intense debate, especially since the team's inconsistent performance on that side of the ball has been a major factor in their overall success or lack thereof in recent years. So what's happening now? Who are the leading candidates? And what does all of this mean for the Cowboys' future? Stick with me because we're about to unpack everything layer by layer with detailed analysis, historical context, and some insider insights you won't find anywhere else. First, let's set the scene. The Dallas Cowboys, one of the most iconic franchises in NFL history, are in a critical transition phase. After a season that, let's be honest, left many fans feeling both hopeful and frustrated, the front office is clearly looking to bolster their coaching staff, especially on defense. The search for a new defensive coordinator isn't just about filling a vacancy, it's about redefining the identity of this team. With a roster that boasts talented players like Micah Parsons, who's been a game changer, and other key defenders, the Cowboys want to ensure their scheme fits their personnel perfectly. But as you know, finding the right coordinator isn't just about name recognition. It's about scheme fit, leadership style, and how well the candidate can develop the talent already in Dallas. Now, the initial reports are that Dallas has been conducting several virtual interviews with multiple candidates, which is standard procedure in today's NFL landscape. But what's more intriguing is the move towards in-person meetings. According to insiders, the Cowboys are now setting up face-to-face interviews with some of the most promising names on their list. Among these are Jonathan Gannon, who's been in the spotlight since his tenure as the defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, and Darront Jones, who has been gaining traction thanks to his work under Brian Flores. There's also Christian Parker, another name that's on the radar for Dallas. These candidates bring different philosophies and backgrounds, which makes this coaching search all the more fascinating. But what really caught everyone's attention is the potential connection with Jim Leonhard, a name that's been floating around as a favorite for the job. Leonhard, known for his time as a defensive back at Wisconsin and his strong coaching reputation, has been seen as someone who could bring a fresh yet disciplined approach to Dallas defense. Yet recent reports suggest that the Cowboys might be shifting their focus away from Leonhard. Why? Because according to Dallas insider Brian Broaddus, the team's eyes are now firmly set on Jeff Ulbrich. Ulbrich, a former NFL linebacker who's been making waves as a defensive coordinator, is currently under contract with the Atlanta Falcons, which complicates the picture. This is where the story gets really interesting. Broaddus points out that the Cowboys are essentially waiting on the Falcons' head coaching decision to see if Ulbrich will remain in Atlanta or if he'll become available. This kind of waiting game isn't uncommon in NFL coaching searches, especially when a candidate like Ulbrich, who has a solid track record, is involved. The fact that the Cowboys might prefer Ulbrich over Leonhard indicates a strategic shift, likely influenced by their assessment of who can best implement their defensive vision. What makes Ulbrich particularly compelling is his background. He's worked with Dan Quinn in Atlanta, which is significant because Quinn's defensive schemes have been highly regarded league-wide. Ulbrich's experience as a defensive coordinator with the New York Jets from 2022 to 2024, where he led a unit that ranked in the top 5 for yards surrendered during that period, adds to his appeal. His NFL pedigree as a former linebacker and his understanding of modern, aggressive defensive schemes make him a candidate who could potentially elevate Dallas's defense to new heights. But here's the question that everyone's asking. Will Dallas actually manage to secure Ulbrich? The situation is complex because of the Falcons' coaching search, and that introduces a layer of uncertainty. The Cowboys are seemingly hopeful that Atlanta's coaching decision will clear the way for Ulbrich to come to Dallas. If the Falcons hire a coach who wants to keep Ulbrich, then Dallas might have to pivot to other candidates like Gannon, Jones, or even Christian Parker. The dynamics at play here show just how strategic and frankly delicate NFL coaching searches can be. It's not just about finding a good candidate, it's about timing, negotiations, and sometimes a bit of luck. Now let's dig into the implications of all this. If Dallas manages to land Ulbrich, what does that mean for the team? Well, his defensive philosophy aligns well with the kind of aggressive, versatile schemes that Dallas has been moving towards recently. Micah Parsons, one of the league's most electrifying linebackers, would likely thrive under Ulbrich's system, which emphasizes pressure and adaptability. Ulbrich's track record with the Jets, particularly his ability to develop young players and implement a scheme that maximizes their strengths, suggests that he could be the perfect fit to unlock Parsons' full potential and improve the overall performance of Dallas defense. Furthermore, the transition to a new coordinator often brings about changes in defensive schemes. Will Ulbrich stick with a 3-4 base, or will he adapt to a hybrid system? Given his background, it's plausible he'll lean towards a scheme that emphasizes pressure from the outside linebackers and flexible coverage schemes. This could play into Dallas's hands, especially considering their roster's talent in the linebacker position. But the real question is, can the Cowboys' defense become more consistent? That's the million-dollar question, and the coaching hire will be a significant factor in that. Let's take a step back and look at the Cowboys' recent defensive history to understand the stakes. Since the departure of Rod Marinelli, Dallas has been searching for stability and identity on defense. Their last few coordinators have struggled with consistency, and the team's defensive rankings have fluctuated significantly year to year. The hope now is that Ulbrich, with his experience and recent success, can bring stability and a clear identity. The Cowboys have invested heavily in their roster, especially on defense, and now it's about translating that talent into results. When analyzing the current season, it's essential to consider how the defense performed in different scenarios. In home games, Dallas's defense has shown flashes of dominance, especially when Micah Parsons is unleashed and the pressure is relentless. However, in away games, they've sometimes struggled with discipline and execution, leading to costly penalties and big plays allowed. The new coordinator's challenge will be to unify the unit, reduce mental errors, and create a scheme that adapts to different opponents. The broader NFL landscape also plays a role here. The league's top defenses this year, like the San Francisco 49ers or the Philadelphia Eagles, have demonstrated how a cohesive scheme combined with disciplined execution can carry a team deep into the playoffs. Dallas obviously has the talent to compete with these clubs, but execution and coaching are crucial. The coaching carousel, which now includes Gannon, Jones, and potentially Ulbrich, highlights how competitive and strategic these decisions are. Now, thinking about the future, what are the Cowboys really aiming for with this coaching change? Clearly, they want to be a top-tier defense capable of shutting down the league's best offenses. They want to create a unit that can carry the team when the offense hits a rough patch, especially considering the recent struggles of their offensive line and the inconsistency at quarterback. The coaching hire will influence not only the scheme, but also the culture within that side of the ball. Will the new coordinator foster a gritty, disciplined mindset? Will he focus on developing young talent like Micah Parsons even further? These are the questions fans and analysts are pondering. Of course, the timing of this entire process is crucial. The NFL offseason is a whirlwind, and coaching hires often set the tone for the entire team's trajectory. If Dallas can secure Ulbrich before free agency and the draft, they can tailor their roster building around his scheme. Conversely, if they miss out, they might have to settle for a second choice, which could impact their defensive identity for the upcoming season. The pressure is on the front office to make the right call, not just for immediate success, but for sustained excellence. And let's not forget about the ripple effects this coaching decision will have on the players. Micah Parsons, for instance, has been vocal about wanting to see a strong defensive identity emerge. If the coaching staff can instill confidence and clarity in the scheme, it could inspire Parsons even more. The same applies to other defenders like Ron Bland or the entire secondary, who will be looking for leadership and strategic guidance. The impact of a good coordinator can be profound, turning good players into great ones and elevating the entire unit. Now, shifting gears a bit, how do these coaching moves compare to what's happening with other teams? The NFL is a league of constant change, and every franchise is looking to gain that competitive edge. Dallas's approach, with multiple interviews and a focus on candidates with ties to successful systems, mirrors trends across the league. Teams are increasingly emphasizing scheme fit, coaching chemistry, and the ability to develop young talent. Dallas's focus on candidates like Gannon, Jones, and Ulbrich shows they are aiming for a strategic, well-thought-out process rather than just hiring for name recognition. Looking ahead, what can we expect in the coming weeks? The NFL coaching carousel is famous for its unpredictability. The Cowboys might secure Ulbrich, or they might pivot to another candidate if the Falcons' coaching situation doesn't clear up. What's certain is that this decision will shape their defense for at least the next 2 seasons. Plus, it could influence draft and free agent decisions, as the new coordinator's scheme requirements will impact what types of players they target. Finally, it's worth reflecting on how this coaching search fits into the larger narrative of the Dallas Cowboys franchise. They've always been a team that values stability and iconic leadership, and a strong defensive coordinator can be a catalyst for that. The Cowboys are no strangers to high-profile coaching moves, and this one feels like a pivotal moment, one that could either propel them back into elite status or set them back if they miss their mark. The stakes are high, but the potential rewards are even higher. So what do you think? Will Dallas land Ulbrich and finally establish a consistent, aggressive defense? Or will they settle for another option and keep the cycle of coaching changes alive? The coming weeks will be crucial, and I'll be right here breaking down every twist and turn with you. Make sure to stay tuned because this story is far from over and the future of Dallas's defense depends on these very decisions. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Dallas Cowboys news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let's continue with the big reveal. As we look toward what's next, I want to highlight some of the key factors that will influence Dallas's decision. The coaching staff's familiarity with certain systems, the potential fit with players like Micah Parsons, and the ability to instill a disciplined, aggressive mindset are all critical. Ulbrich's experience with the Jets and his stint under Dan Quinn suggest he's adaptable and capable of leading a versatile defense. Yet the NFL is all about timing. The right coach at the right moment can turn a good defense into a great one. In conclusion, this coaching search is more than just about filling a position. It's about shaping the identity of the Dallas Cowboys defense for years to come. It's about finding that perfect blend of scheme, leadership, and player development. And as fans, we're all eagerly watching, waiting to see which candidate will step into that role and whether they'll be the missing piece in Dallas's quest for a Super Bowl title. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Dallas Cowboys. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Dallas Cowboys news. Thanks for riding along on this deep dive. I'll see you in the next video.